Alright, hello boys and girls, welcome to HeroesMart Academy. My name is Mr. Lan. I will be walking you through 4th grade Social Studies, week number 7, which is Texas Revolution Part 3. We get a chance to talk about the third part of Texas Revolution today. And this week we're going to be talking about events like the Runaway Script, the Battle of San Jacinto, notable individuals that contributed to those events. We are going to be talking about some of those things today, today in this lesson. All right. So, what was the Runaway Scrape? So, if you heard Runaway Scrape before, so it was the term that was used by Texans when they were running away from their homes, and this happened between 1836, specifically January 14th of 1836, to February of 1836, when the Mexican Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna moved to conquer Texas. So lots of Anglo-Europeans who were in Texas, they just fled, they left, and they ran away. And places impacted were places like San Patricio, Refugio, and San Antonio, just around that neighborhood. So that's what Runaway Script was. The Mexican general moved into Texas to squash the Texan rebellion, because Texas had rebelled against the Mexican Congress to tell them, we are going to keep practicing slavery, whether you guys like it or not. And Mexico said, no, you got to abolish slavery right now. So they rebelled, and the Mexican forces came over to try to fight because of that at the Battle of the Alamo, which we talked about last week. Now, what about the Battle of San Jacinto? Well, this occurred in 1836 after Texas gained independence from Mexico. And April 21st, 1836, Sam Houston and his forces defeated the Mexican Santa Anna um, army at San Jacinto. Sam Houston cries, remember the Alamo and remember Goliath. So what happened at the Alamo, that's the Sam Santa Anna army came over and defeated the Texan forces at the Alamo, spurred the Battle of San Jacinto, in which 6 weeks later Sam Houston came over and he fought the Mexican forces, and Santa Anna was taken as a prisoner, but he was released on condition that he would recognize Texas independence from Mexico. And he was released over there, and Texas became an independent nation. Notable individuals were combatant individuals like Travis and James Bowie, David Crockett, George Childress, Sidney Sherman, Tejanos Juan Antonio Padilla, Carlos Espalier, and Juan Sanguine, and all these other people over here. They were really combatant people who were involved in the battle of those days. There were other non-combatant individuals as well, like Susanna Dickinson, Enrique uh, Esparza, and leaders that founded Texas, well, Jose Antonio Navarro, Sam Houston, of course, Mirabeau Lamar, and Anson Jones. They had some successes like the conquest of the San Jacinto, the ultimate victory over Mexico, Declaration of Independence from Mexico, April 21st, 1836. The annexation to the United States in 1845, and they had some problems as well. The problems include the loss of the Battle of Alamo, challenges with the native Indians, the runaway scrape, were some of the problems that the early American occupiers or colonies of Texas ran into. Organizations of the Republic of Texas formed a constitution which had a notable quote that the state of Texas was a free and independent state, which is subject only to the Constitution of the United States, and that all free men have equal rights. Note that word over there, all free men. And not necessarily all men, because there were still slaves over there, and that the writs of habeas corpus could not be suspended or unduly delayed. And you can reference this link over there for additional details about that. And habeas corpus is a law that permits someone to challenge the prison official about the imprisonment of a prisoner. Relations with the African Americans was really, really tough and we talked about all of those before. Texas Rangers. Have you heard of Texas Rangers before? Well, that's like the Texas police force used during the Mexican War. All right. So let us answer a few questions over there. Again, when did Texas declare independence from Mexico and why? Okay. Texas declared independence from Mexico when that was, I believe, April 21st, 1826. April 21st and 1836, rather, 1836. And why? Why? Because Texas wanted to practice slavery and Mexico did not. Okay. When was Texas annexed to the Union of the United States? That was pretty much in 1845, just like we said before. All right. So remember all of these things again were prophesied during the Bible days. So get a copy of the Bible and try to read it and get as close to God as possible because we are in the end time. All right. So that's what I got for you today, boys and girls. Week number 7, grade 4 social studies. Remember, God cares about you and so do we. Bye-bye.
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with HeroesMart, I will be your friend. So don't you worry.